Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, May the 11th, 2020, and it is 8 p.m. Central Time, and my name is Trevor Patrick Watkin, and it is time for another evening of a live stream concert for you, just for you, this evening. I am broadcasting live from Access Contemporary School of Music here in Chicago, Illinois, which is my musical home. This is the place where I teach. I am also the director of operations here, and I want to share this every single day with you because this is the place where I feel the most at home. And I think for all of us right now, home seems terribly far away because home isn't home right now, because it's the place where we have to be in order to be safe. And I know that seems really contradictory, but I think right now it's all about choice, and right now I have the luxury of choosing to be here because it's so close to where I live. And I hope all of you are holding up well through all of this, and I'm glad that you're here tonight sharing this with me and letting me share my music with you. Just a word about Access Contemporary Music. ACM was founded by Seth Bosted in 2004. We are a music school that focuses on the individual creativity of every single student that we have. That is our core mission. And all of us faculty who teach here are working professionals in the city. And I'm not alone when I say that this is my musical home. This is the musical home for a great number of people. In addition to being a music school, ACM produces events all around the world, really. I mean, events in Barcelona, New York City, Milwaukee, Mexico City, and of course right here in Chicago. We do our concerts at the Davis Theater in Lincoln Square, which is just down the road from us, which is actually where Roger Ebert used to write his reviews, his blessed memory. But this is a wonderful place to work, and I am so glad that I get to do these live streams from ACM to share this music with you. Today is going to be a shorter concert. I've gotten quite long-winded these days, but today is pretty short and sweet. On Mondays, I like to do the works of a composer that I actually discovered through YouTube, whose name is Herman Beeftink. And this is the second movement of his piece called Seasons, which of course is a 4-movement work, as there are 4 seasons. Last Monday, I did obviously the first movement was spring, and tonight is summer. And Mr. Beeftink has just been a wonderful composer to discover because I absolutely love the way that he writes. There is room for everything in the musical world, and it's just really nice to play the music of someone who writes really intuitively, and his music is exactly what it says on the tin. It doesn't pretend to be anything it isn't, and I have a lot of plans for his music on this channel. He has a wonderful, wonderful work for flute quartet called Frequency, which I'll be performing. I don't remember when I have that planned for, but it will be soon. I'm really looking forward to it. In fact, when I did something really stupid, and I bought all of his music, and I bought his backing tracks. A word on that in just a second. But I was so eager to get practicing that I only downloaded the first movement, which was Spring, and realized that I hadn't downloaded the rest. And of course, my download link had expired, and so I had to email him directly. And when I told him what I was planning on doing, he actually threw in Frequency. He was like, well, here you go, which I thought was really cool. And also, one thing that I think is really cool, I've observed with Mr. Beeftink and also Mr. Ian Clark, whose piece Hypnosis I performed on my recital yesterday, but also on the live stream that I did a week before last on a Friday evening. I really love it that composers are providing these backing tracks. Of course, I'm not entirely sure they would have intended for them to be used for this purpose. Of course, probably intended to be used just for practice, but they've been invaluable to me, and I think it's wonderful that I get to perform summer this evening for you, as I did spring last week, and as I will autumn next week, with the composer at the piano. And that is something I wouldn't be able to do if I were doing a live concert. Mr. Beeftink is based in LA, and of course, I'm here in Chicago. So I'm really grateful that tonight I get to play Summer for you with the composer at the piano. So without further ado, this is Summer by Mr. Herman Beeftink. I want to hear your thoughts on that, because that is, and I'm not impugning the composer whatsoever, impugning his sort of motivation behind that piece. It's a very, very interesting interpretation of summer. I'm fascinated by it. And what are your thoughts on that? It's not at all what I would have imagined. And that's the blessing of composers, is every composer has their own particular worldview. And let me be the first person, perhaps, who, if you're a composer out there, perhaps let me be the first person to tell you, your way of seeing things, your way of creating, your way of interpreting the world around you is a valid one, and you should share it. You should. This piece is not at all what I would have envisioned for something called summer, yet here it is, and it's a joy to play. Well, I see a comment here. It's like a warm summer night. That's wonderful. I think that's fascinating. And this is why I want to continue to share as much as possible the works of composers who are living and can comment on perhaps what their intentions were. Of course, I imagine a lot of composers will be like, well, it just depends on what you think, which is nice, but it's also nice to know what. Sorry, I'm going to stop myself. I almost said it's almost nice to know what the composer thought. But you know what? The composer just told us what he thought. He just told us. He doesn't need to say anything else, because that's what he had to say. And anyway, this is it's just a neat little gem of music, and I'm just so grateful that Mr. Beeftink shared his music via YouTube, and indeed all composers should. But also, I got to play with him at the piano, which is pretty stunning. So you should definitely check him out. I put all this stuff in the description box down below. But very strangely, that's it. I mean, it seems very strange that this is it. But and I'm kind of sad about that, actually. Yesterday was my very first time performing a full-scale recital. I did it on Facebook Live, and I did upload it up to my channel here on YouTube. But I just thank you for being here and listening to me and letting me share this with you, and all these different pieces that I've found and I get to play, and it's just such a pleasure, because it's like, here it is. I just turn on OBS and say go live, and here it is. The rest of the week is very interesting, actually. Tomorrow night actually will be my very first time playing unaccompanied. I will be playing Charanga, which is by Michael Cahoon, and it's a dearly loved piece of music, and I'm very excited to share it with you. And then on Wednesday will be the wonderful, for any of you who've seen the Ken Burns Civil War series, I'll be playing Ashokan Farewell, which I'm very excited to play. And then on Thursday, I think it's Thursday, I'll be playing the works of a marvelous composer named Cynthia Folio. I'll be playing a piece called 1 for 4, which is for 4 flutes, and also a piece called Sketches for flute and piano. So I have a lot of really exciting things planned for this week. And once again, I just thank you so much for joining me here and letting me share this with you. And please stay happy, please stay healthy, and I will very much look forward to seeing you tomorrow night at 8 Central.